Hi, and welcome to Eating Plebian once again. Today we are doing chicken cordon bleu, and because of personal preferences here in the household, my wife doesn't particularly like Swiss cheese. I'm going to make hers with blue cheese, and that has given rise to chicken cordon Kabluie. Why not? At least the standard version is kind of seen as a nice, elegant dish for a main course and a good protein. However, it's a bit deceptive because it's actually really, really easy to make. It's actually very inexpensive, and it's just one of those things that you don't have to spend a whole lot of money in order to get something really nice on the table. And as a lot of people know, sometimes when you're doing your own cooking, keeping things switched up and new and interesting for the loved ones at your table, just a little bit of effort goes a long, long way. Let's get started with the ingredient list. Obviously, I've got a couple of chicken breasts that I've got out, and I will be slicing these thin in half lengthwise through the width to make these things wide enough to accommodate a roulette, which is a rolled up piece of meat with stuffing. I've got some panko, and you can use either panko or you can use plain or Italian breadcrumbs, whichever way you'd like. I just happen to like the panko. I've got a couple eggs over here to assist with setting that breading onto the meat. I've got about 4 ounces of Swiss cheese, which would be enough to do both halves of both breasts. But I'll be actually using again some of the blue cheese in order to make the other two. But anyhow, I just wanted to show you those as well. I've got some sliced ham and the aforementioned blue cheese. Starting off with these chicken breasts, as I said, I need to slice these in half. This one is already somewhat thin, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. It'll just make small ones. So keep your knife level with the plane of the cutting board. Use your palm and move slowly through it. Make sure not to cut yourself. And there we are. So now we've got these two pieces here. This one already has a slight hole in it, so we're going to have to be very careful with that because, again, this chicken breast was rather thin to begin with. And then we've got this monster. We'll be doing the same. Just keep your knife level. Use your palm. Keep it flat. And we go through the thickness. There we are. Okay. So my next magical trick is I'm going to use my meat mallet. No jokes. And I'm going to use a couple of pieces of plastic wrap. I've already got these cut up just for speed here. Get that on. And with my other piece. And that's about as far as I want to go with it for that one. So I'm going to do the rest of these, and I'll join you back here momentarily. All right, I have the four halves taken care of, and I'm not beating your brains now with the audio of me banging on stuff. I'm going to set this back down. You'll note that I didn't salt and pepper it beforehand. We probably would have lost quite a bit of it in the process of pounding and it just remaining on the saran wrap. And so I'm going to salt and pepper these. And I'm going to start with putting the thinner portion away from me over there because that's going to be the interior of the roll. So I've got several pieces of ham that I'm going to be just laying here on the inside. About 3 of these thin ones will do well. And I've also got the cheese. A little food safety here. I'm going back and forth in between pre-prepared and cooked food, meaning the cheese here and the ham. I am not going to be reusing any of that by putting it back and away inside of the back inside of the packages because I'm handling raw chicken. So be aware of that you don't have it like all out. Anything that I don't use from this, I will be discarding. So we've got that. Now I'm just going to make sure that I'm going to roll this over. Be gentle. Sometimes the cheese is not going to want to roll. That's why you want the thin stuff. Maybe even break off a piece here. Get back in there. Ha ha ha. And now we have our roll. Let me give you some advice on securing this momentarily. I have here some skewers. I actually thought I had some toothpicks. I couldn't find them. Oh well. And so I'm going to go through and simply secure this. And just for ease, I'm going to break it off. There's no reason not have things sticking all over the place. And that will help hold them through the process of egging them and breading them and moving them back and forth from the baking tray. All right, I'm going to do the rest of mine. Be right back. All right, since I've done the two that we're going to have the Swiss in, I'm simply going to add a little bit of the blue cheese here to make the chicken cordon Kabluie. I know, yes, I made the name up. Note, I didn't touch the spoon or anything like that to any of the chicken, so I can put that back in the pantry drawer. There might be some loss as I roll this up if it comes out the end, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes things are messy. And this was a particularly small chicken breast. So, you know, just do what you can. Get it rolled over. Stick that chunk back in and skewer it. And I've got one more to go. Come on. I was going to say, don't make me have to put my knife on you. All right, one more to do. Back in a sec. Now that I have my roulettes all taken care of and ready to go, I'm going to bust a couple of eggs here. It's entirely possible that simply one egg would do it, but I'm going to do it anyway because I like to be thorough and just call for two. My oven has been heating up at 375 degrees. I will be using a food thermometer in order to judge how done they are. Now, just because we have chicken that's more on the outside and the filling more on the inside means that perhaps we don't have to wait for the entire process of getting to 165 degrees. That would be wrong because the ingredients that we have stuffing these roulettes are well in touch and had come in contact with the chicken, and we need to be able to kill that stuff. We need to be safe even before we need to be tasty. So I've got that going on. I'm going to grab a brush here and just go over a little bit. I don't want to overly manhandle these things. They can be a little delicate and want to try to come apart on you. So I've got the outsides all taken care of there. And this cup of panko, I'm just going to throw some over top, flip it over, grab some more to throw. And now I'm going to add it to my baking tray. I've got some foil lined here, simply because if I've got stuff like cheese falling out, I don't want it to burn on and make it an extra nasty job to try to clear this thing up. But there, I've got that set and ready to go. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and do this for the next 3. All right, so now our chicken cordon bleu, or chicken cordon Kabluie, is ready to go into the oven, 375 degrees. And I'm going to use a wireless food thermometer on the largest one, going right into the center. Let's see what it looks like when it comes out. 40 minutes in, and we've got 165 degrees on those. Let's go ahead and pull them out. There we are. I'm going to use a decidedly unkitcheny tool and use a pair of pliers to get these sections of skewers out, but they're looking good. And let's see, come across the other side, and we've got a little bit of seepage on the cheese. That's perfectly fine. So are they as elegant and, perfectly formed as restaurant ones? No. If I really wanted to, I could actually have taken them, wrapped them up in saran wrap and turn them almost into a ball and put them in the freezer for a while, but we didn't need to really do that. So let me get these plated up. Okay, all plated up. Anyways, we're going to take these to the table because it's time to eat around here. Thanks once again for joining us here at Eating Plebian. I hope you enjoyed the recipes and visiting the website. I do this because I like to.